Good morning, everybody. It is June 5th, 2013. Almost 4 in the morning. Give you a little bit of AA of the day. First, I'm going to start because I had said in past videos that I would give you guys a little backstory about myself. Never going to have the time to do that all at once before work, unless I get up hours before. So usually, in people's stories, at the meetings, they ask you to explain what you were like, what happened, and what you are like now. So I'm going to start with what I was like. I start from the beginning, I guess. I was a very athletic child, very popular kid in school. Lived about an hour north of Phoenix. About once third grade hit, I started going down to Phoenix schools so I could play sports. They did not offer any in the school that in my little town, Black Hidden City. They offer very many school sports. So my mom would take me down there every morning and drop me off at my grandparents' house, where I would go back to sleep for a little bit and wake up and eat Rice Krispies treats, Rice Krispie cereal. While my grandfather would sit and read his paper and smoke his cigarettes. Well, my grandmother did too, actually. But she talked to me more than just reading her paper. My grandfather was a very quiet man. Alcohol was introduced into my life at an early age, not intentionally by my family or anything, but one of the two of the first instances I remember with alcohol was when we were kids. My parents were involved in a horseback riding club, which almost all the memories I have of that horseback riding club were just awesome fun as kids, camping, fishing, horseback riding through parades, organizing street dances, and lots of barbecues and lots of, horseback get-togethers. And but there was drinking at a lot of those horseback rides. One event that I remember particularly was on Easter. Instead of the kids hiding all the eggs, or instead of the adults hiding the eggs for the kids, us kids would hide a bunch of little mini bottles of liquor for the adults to find, and and try to hide them in places where they didn't find them all. And later, after the adults were drunk, we'd go out and give them a try. Now, my next first instance with alcohol was when I was pretty young, but my sister had, and I don't know if it was my sister and my brother or just my sister, but they threw a party with all the Calvary Chapel kids while the parents were out of town on some event, and my sister's friends, they pulled me out back and gave me Jack Daniels in a cup, and I watched them as they would pull into the yard with street signs and speed limit signs that they would get drunk and they would go out and steal. And I remember two people breaking up, like a girl and a boy, and one girl was in this bathtub just throwing up all over. And the guy who she was breaking up with was just in the bathtub getting thrown up all with him, like trying to get her back. A bunch of drunken idiot nonsense. I remember early that morning, me answering the phone, and it was my parents saying that they'll be home within 30 minutes. So I didn't want my brother or sister or anybody to get in trouble, so I drug the speed limit signs down to the river bottom and poured gasoline on them and burned all the numbers off and hit them. So they didn't know that it was my sister and her friends who did it. I was at a young age trying to cover up for them. And then drugs and stuff, they were introduced young age too. My brother's 2 years older than me, and basically anytime when he started smoking marijuana, that was the first time I ever had smoked. Tried meth in an attic when I was before the age of, before like 3rd grade, I believe it was. My problem is alcohol and drugs. I was a athlete with scholarships, and carried a lot of weight on my shoulders to make it, and I was in a car accident where a friend died on top of me, and I think it was more mentally on the way I handled that fed into my rebellious attitude, on top of drug use, on top of drinking. Drugs and alcohol were more of a coping mechanism to not deal with my mental and emotional state of mind. But I got into drugs real bad and alcohol real bad, and eventually got with my ex-wife now, who had a 4-year-old at the time. I said I would change if I ever had kids. Right when she got pregnant with my daughter, I tried to change, and while I was living in Arizona, found it hard. Just knew too many people would come by my house, even if I didn't try to find them. He'd find me, and finally it was just time to pack up and go. And so she had family out here in Macomb, Illinois, just a sister, and a brother-in-law. So I said, hey, let's go, and that's what we did. And we had, my daughter was about 3 months, or maybe 6 months, and no, she was about 3 months old, and no, maybe it was 6 months old, and she was pregnant with my son, and we came out here, and I changed a lot, and I stopped using, I stopped drinking for years. Well, no, I stopped using for years. I still drank. Drinking was always in the back of my mind, and I wasn't strong enough to quit using drugs. I just moved away from all my connects. Took a couple years before I ran into another friend / connect, and from staying in neutral and not doing meetings or groups or getting involved with my sobriety, I left myself wide open, and I did not build up strength in between me meeting one user or leaving one dealer and meeting another dealer. I had no strength to build up between. I just thought I was good, healed. Nobody was watching me because I don't really have too many friends out here, family, or besides kids that are too young to know. and my wife, ex-wife now. So I started using it, especially working third shift and for 8 years, and trying to stay up with the kids once COVID hit after working third shift, and ended up down spiraling, and I quit drinking and using a couple months before my divorce, and I haven't felt better, but that's what I was like, and I will tell you what happened after on the next video, but let's get to the readings. 24 hours a day. June 5th. We alcoholics are fortunate to be living in a day and age when there is a such thing as Alcoholics Anonymous. Before AA came into being, there was very little hope for the alcoholic. AA is a great rebuilder of human wreckage. It takes men and women whose personality problem expresses itself in alcoholism and offers them a program which, if they are willing to accept it, allows them not to only get sober, but to also find a much better way of living. Have I found a much better way of living? Absolutely. AA might have been in my world in the world for some time now, but it wasn't in my world until a little over 3 months ago. And the ways that it's changed me is just amazing. It's hard to tell sometimes, just because I was at that break financially and emotionally, that if I didn't stop using and didn't pull my head out of my ass, I think I would have been too far gone, or dead, or bankrupt. So I'm slowly chipping away at everything, and it's hard to tell the progress from that much time. But my way of living is a lot better. I don't hold in all these thoughts and emotions. I talk to you guys and get them out, and make room for more healthy thoughts. So yes, I am living in a better way. Meditation for the day. Very quietly, God speaks through your thoughts and feelings. Heed the divine voice of your conscience. Listen for this, and you will never be disappointed in the results in your life. Listen for this small, still voice, and your tired nerves will become rested. The divine voice comes to you as strength as well as tenderness, as power as well as restlessness. Your moral strength derives its effectiveness from the power that comes when you listen patiently for the still small voice. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may listen for the still small voice of God. I pray that I may obey the leading of my conscience. All right, let's begin. Now we will read from my little motivational flip book thing here, June 5th. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Philippians 4:6. Closed doors to prayer may sometimes be a sign of God's hand working to redirect our focus to another needful area of our lives. Yeah. Anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful Monday, and stay sober one day at a time. God bless.